Hi everyone, this is Raj Kumar D, Assistant Professor from Department of Information Technology, Dr. SNS Rajalakshmi College of Arts and Science. In this video lecture, we are going to discuss about configuring the network hardware. So configuring the network hardware typically involves with setting up the routers, setting up the switches, caring for the access points, looking after the firewalls and its operations, and we involve with other networking devices. We make sure that by working through all these components, we are ensuring a proper connectivity and the better performance. So here is an overview of the general steps involved in configuring an network hardware. First one is the plan network configuration. Second one is the router configuration. Third one is the switch configuration. Fourth one is the firewall configuration. Next comes testing and monitoring, and at last security and maintenance. The first one is the planning the network configuration. Here we are going to employ three schemes. We have to make sure that which scheme we are going to use. First one is the IP address scheme. So we have to decide the range of IP addresses for your network. The IP addresses may be a public, private, static or dynamic. So private is your own, public is the common usage, static remains same, and dynamic it bound to change. So we have to, based upon the size of the network and number of the terminals we are going to connect, or the client machines we are going to use, we have to decide on the range of IP addresses. Next comes the subnets, whether we are need a subnet or not. If at all we are going to need, we make sure that we are configuring it into maybe different departments or different locations. For example, if we are having three different floors, we can have a subnet for each individual floor. And if we are having five different departments, we can separate it into five different subnets. Next comes the DNS and the DHCP, dynamic host configuration protocol setup. DNS stands for domain naming service. So all these two services has to be hosted, and next we have to configure them also. So then so what we are which option we are going to use, so deciding on those is the initial step, and we need to make this very clear. Next one is the router configuration. So how to access the router, we have to connect to a router via a web interface and use that router IP, or to get connected through a command line interface via an serial or an circuit socket connection. Next one is the setting up the IP addresses. We are going to assign an IP address for the router interface that connects to your local network and external networks. So for example, this will be provided by your internet service provider. Next comes your routing protocols. So we have to use what type of configuration protocols we are going to use. We can use either this routing information protocol RAP, or open shortest path first OSPF, or the border gateway protocol. So what protocol we are going to use in case of routing process, and separate algorithms is being involved. So configuring all those things, each has its own merits and demerits, and each requires its own performance issues also. So based upon our nature of our network, we have to decide what type of protocols we are going to use. Next comes the network address translation. So how we are going to translate your private IPs into public IPs. So what are the different policies involved? Those things also need to be accommodated. Next one is the switch configuration, whether we need VLAN, virtual local area networks, for segmenting the network traffic, separating office from your servers and the guest networks. That also we have to decide. Next comes the port configuration. We are going to assign the ports to specific virtual LANs, and next the configuring the port types to access via what type of protocol we are going to use. That also we need to decide. Next comes the spanning tree protocol, that is the STP. So it is we are going to use, if FTP means we have to enable, and configuring those STP is also very important to avoid the network loops. Next comes the port security. So to enable the port security, we need to employ certain features like access points, and how certain devices can use those specific ports to access this device. So that policies has also be framed and implemented. Next one is the testing and monitoring process. So we will be using ping and trace route commands to employ whether the connectivity between two devices is working properly or not. Next network is the network speed test. We will be using different tools to measure the throughput latency. Suppose if at all a jitter, we make sure that the network is performing as stated or as expected. Last one is monitoring. So we'll be using a simple network management protocol or the other monitoring tools like Wireshark or SolarWinds to continuously monitor the health of the network and traffic patterns. Last one is the security and maintenance. So we'll be using different hardwares and softwares for security and maintenance purpose. We make sure that the latest firmware is being used to avoid different vulnerabilities, and a backup of all the configurations is done regularly so that we can access them later. Next one, setting up of the pass and unique passwords for network devices is very essential. So different password manager programs are used for secure access. With this, we come to this end of the session. I hope it is useful for you. Let us meet in the next session. Thank you.